My name is Benny Johnson. As some of you know, I've been struggling with addiction. However, I decided to change my life and went into recovery. I've started this podcast 90 Days Clean, and I want to take you along in my journey. What does lie ahead of me? Let me be frank. I do not know. Will I ever drink again? I do not know. This is how Stairway to Redemption was born. It is my search for answer in a real-time process of what is going to work for me. It is then my aspiration to help you figure out what's going to work for you. It is our journey together. Good morning, guys, and welcome to Stairway to Redemption, a podcast about addiction and recovery. This week episode is going to be a solo episode, a special one, because in addition of to giving my update, I'm gonna also add my feature episode in the White Label American, which is my friend Raphael podcast, where I told my whole origin story. Like I mentioned before, it was more comfortable for me to tell my story on another platform because I would rather be asked questions than be rambling around. It's so hard to me to just tell my story because I can jump all over the place. But I guess when you have somebody else asking you those questions, it's easier. So yeah, stay tuned for that episode. And now let's jump into the solo part of it. All right. For the state of mind address, I want to reiterate the thanks to you guys for the support of this podcast. This podcast has been like growing steadily. We are averaging now 100 downloads a month, I believe, and the support online on TikTok and Instagram is very visible. Uh, I have like no difficulties now finding guests, which is cool because I can think of like recording more episode in advance and not do them like week to week. Uh, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I feel like a little bit exhausted because I feel like I breathe, eat, recovery all the time. But I understand that's something that I must endure until this endeavor of mine takes a little bit more flight or leap forward, I would say. Um, yeah, because I will at some point I'm probably gonna need help. But I guess what's happening is in conjunction with doing the podcast and going to IOP and also going to AA, it's easy to be saturated by everything that's recovery like. Um, but yeah, fortunately I've met a great community here on Long Island that is a group of people who dabble in spirituality and sober careers. Some of them, very few are in recovery, but they all share the mindset that we need to create events that are not centered around alcohol. So we usually go to art shows. We have like a gathering in tea houses, restaurant, meditation. Um, yeah, sometimes meditation, retreats, yeah, those kind of things. And I would like to give a shout out to Paul Vibes, who is a friend who actually spend a lot of energy creating those events because that's not easy at all. Yeah. So this is where my state of mind is right now. I would like to talk about an event I attended 2 weeks ago, called Good AF Awards, AF as in alcohol free. I went there, attended a few weeks ago. It was organized by a friend of mine called Lorelai. Shout out to Lorelai. It was an award show for non-alcoholic drinks. Um, and I had the opportunity to try various drinks. I would like to bring out the fact that I prefer non-alcoholic drinks that have their own tastes compared to the ones that have they are like basically analog of all other drinks like zero proof tequila or zero proof wine because I wonder what are my intention when I drink those zero proof drinks. Like why do I want something that tastes exactly like their alcoholic counterpart? And it makes me think, will I give that kind of drink to a child since there's no alcohol in it? What's the intention then? What's the purpose of it? So, yeah, I'm not sure. I think I'm more of a fancy juice, like people call it, fancy juice, fancy mocktails with a lot of ginger or hibiscus kind of guy. Um, Also, I would like to give a shout out to those amazing girls who are Bridget and Alex, who are the Sober Sallies. They have a really great podcast called The Sober Sallies. I'm gonna add the link to the description. Their show is worth taking a listen to. They are funny, direct. I found myself getting caught laughing out loud in public because I wasn't ready for what they're gonna come out of their mouth. I'm gonna add the link to the description. Um, they also held a virtual meeting where we talk about numerous things, notably the mindset or the intention behind drinking non-alcoholic drinks, and notably the boredom in sobriety. Sometimes I'm gonna keep it in the eye. Sometimes that boredom can be confused with quiet, like since there's not much chaos anymore. We, I, I don't know how to explain this. It can be taken as if because it's quiet time that we are bored or that we are, yes, that we are bored. But I learned how to embrace that boredom as quiet time and not be destructive by looking to do something that will be detriment to my health. Um, yeah. So, yeah, now I'm gonna transition you guys. I think that's it for the updates since last month, and I'm gonna transition to my origin story interview. All right, guys, I will see you next week. Bye.
Welcome, welcome to a brand new episode of White Label American Podcast. Thank you all for joining us. Today's story that you're going to hear is not an average immigrant story. It's a story from one of the dearest people that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. He actually knew me before I began this podcast, so he was there at the beginning. And he's a brother who has stood in front of the mirror and decided to share with the world what he owned up to. And not many of us tend to do that. So there's so much that we can learn from this brother. We can learn a thing or two from him. And I will allow him to introduce himself because it's just a lot from this gentleman. And I don't think I think I might be tongue struck if I attempt to even go that route. But I just have a big amount of respect for our guest today. So please do me the honors of introducing yourself.
Drum roll.
Drum roll.
Hi guys, my name is Benny Johnson. I'm a Rafael's friend from what was it? From the Real Madrid club back in that was what 2015, I believe.
Yes, 2015.
Yeah, so we met at the Real Madrid official fan club, and we were watching games together. I think we watched like Classico together, a couple games, champion. No, did we watch Champions League?
Well,
Maybe we
probably did.
did watch Champions League. And I remember when he started the podcast, he tried to get me as a guest, but at the time I wasn't ready. I was dodging him. I'm sorry, Raphael. I did for years. I mean, I did get you a good guest. Though,
Oh yeah, you
so,
did.
Yeah.
You did.
So trying to,
You still support it.
yeah, try to support, like the cause. And when it was time for me to get my own podcast, I came to you and told you, what was going on in my life, and that I was ready to, share with the world what has been going on with me, and that I wanted to start a podcast, about addiction and recovery, a little bit about me. Yeah, I'm in recovery as of today, exactly day for day. I've been 6 months sober. My sober date is July 12th. Today is July, as we're recording, is January 12th. Yeah, so that's 6 months day for day. Yeah, so yeah, that's it for now. You probably gonna ask me to tell my story or something. I don't know. I just don't want to.
We're gonna dive into
Yeah, I
that.
don't want to explain too much.
No,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine. We'll start there. We'll save all the juice for as we go along. We'll extract as we keep moving on.
Mhm.
So, welcome to the show officially, and thank you for joining us. We are honored to have you here. And let's start with your names, Benny Johnson. So, the how many times have people called you Benjamin instead of Benny?
Like I lost count. I lost that battle. So like when people call me Benji or Benjamin, I hate Benjamin. I will correct, but when they call me Benji, I let it slide because my name is spelled Benyi. So when people see the Y, they think it's a J.
Yeah,
like a
I think
G.
I had that mistake.
Yeah,
too, first time I met you.
I lost that battle like years ago. Like going from college, like as soon as I moved, I tried to correct. At one point, I was like, you know what, it's close enough, man. Like the funny part that pissed me off is when my name is spelled on Facebook and people hit me up on Facebook and still misspell it. I'm like, the name is just above you,
Wow.
like. Come
Yeah,
on,
right, it's
man.
right
like,
there in front of you.
It's right there in front of
there.
you. I understand, like, they will still misspell it. I'm like, or like when I send them my name, we don't do well, right? And they
Mhm.
save it. And the next time they text me, they spell it like, Benny or like, Bennie, whatever spelling they have.
Oh man.
I'm like, wow, but what can I do? Pick your
Names.
battles.
I know, right? So, can you tell us the meaning of your name and the history behind your name?
So my Benny is actually my middle name. My first name is Kwadjo. So we are like my dad is Togolese. Those names are Eves. So Kwadjo is the name that you give to somebody who was born on Monday.
Oh,
I was born
on Monday too.
Yeah.
So, also for Togolese, Kwadjo is is that the same as Kojo?
Kojo, yeah, it's a variation of Kojo. So
Okay.
Kojo, Kujo, Kwadjo are variation of like the same name basically, and they're all given to people who were born on Monday, and they come basically from the Akans tribe. The Eves are like a subdivision of the Akans. So Akans are found in Togo, Benin, a part of Nigeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast, basically the Gulf of Guinea, like that part of Africa. And Benny, it means the first of the generation. So I'm not only the oldest of my family. I'm the oldest of my cousins.
Wow.
So yeah, like it's the name that, so basically in the FA, every name has like a meaning. For example, when somebody's name is Yawo, he was born on Thursday. Coffee was born on Friday. And also the second name in it is their status at the family. Like Ampa, for example, he's the oldest of the family. Mason, he's the third son of the family. So when somebody tells you their name, you can have an idea of like how many members of the family they like. When somebody tells you his name is Mason, like, he has two older brothers, like that
Oh,
kind of stuff. So,
okay.
even when I forgot the name for twins, but they have even names for twins
Yeah.
and which one is the oldest of the twins. So once you meet somebody with that name, you know they have a twin brother or twin sister.
Yeah, I forgot our names for twins on
Yeah.
the Jaw side, but Yoruba name for twins are more popular. The Taiwo and Kehinde.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Taiwo is the first. Because I think I said Taiwo first, so I think Taiwo might be the first.
First, yeah.
Yeah, so might be the oldest,
Mm-hmm.
and Kehinde might be the youngest.
So even the Yoruba have that system, which is funny, I love it. I mean, it makes sense. Like it's interesting. It's a very because all names have meaning. Even like for example, Sarah means princess in Hebrew. Like Victor is from victory. Like in how you call it in Latin. Victorious. Like all names have meanings, and the power of your name. Sometimes I believe that the power of a name can influence like somebody personality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Raphael is a Hebrew name,
Mm-hmm.
and my middle name Oinlaifa. I still believe that meaning is Christianity tampered with the meaning because one of the meanings is that I know is nothing supersedes God, and then sometimes I've been told nothing supersedes a greater being.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and there's also a variation which is Tubo Dainfa, which my cousin goes by. So the short is Dainfa, like the short for mine is Laifa.
Okay.
Which is which you've seen.
Yeah, I've seen life around. Yeah,
you've seen that. I don't want to say where because there's some. I don't want some people to find me. But you know where I use that name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that's the shorter version of my traditional name.
Okay.
Yeah, my tribal name. I mean. So and even my last name Harry is a Celtic name, but it's the same as Henry. Yeah, Harry and Henry have the same
like a root, right?
Yeah,
Celtic.
A rich, powerful lord.
Wait, there are like a lot of Harrys in Nigeria?
Yeah. My tribe actually has, but in my state, we are not big. But the next door state, there's a large Harry clan. So, like, if I meet somebody from or people who are familiar with my area, they always think I'm from the next door state.
Okay.
When they see my names, they're like, "Oh, you're one of the Harrys." Oh, Harrys. They always associate me with the next door state because there's a lot of Harrys there. Yeah. But when I'm like, I'm not from there, they're like, "What? There's Harrys in your state?" Like, wow, that's rare. Like, yeah, I'm like, yeah. But actually, it's because it was my grandfather, my great grandfather that changed our name. It's supposed to be ARI.
ARI. Okay.
Yeah. We fall into that one of those categories of people who they claim the white man couldn't pronounce ARI.
Ari, yeah, so they're like Harry. Yeah, Harry.
Yeah, and by the time I was born, they didn't change it, so that's how I ended up with Harry.
Okay.
So yeah, we are not officially Harrys. That's why it's it's not. It's a rarity, and it makes sense why people are always shocked. Like, oh, there's Harrys, and there were a few of my uncles. I think one or two of my uncles changed their names. Like, even because I have uncles in Ghana. My grandfather was in Ghana, and for those of you who don't know, check earlier a couple of the bunch of episodes where I've talked about that, and there's one or two who have that name in Ghana, Ari. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it gave me Ari. Yeah. So that's how. Yeah, we're spreading, and it's a whole thing. So maybe one day I'll wake up and say, all right, I'm changing my name back to Ari. It's not really that like, if you're going by pronunciation back home, they'll be like, Ari?
Yeah.
Ari?
When you got your citizenship, did you change anything in your name?
No, but I still had to change name before, but I actually changed name before citizenship because the way somebody wasn't paying attention, and when I arrived, they looked at on the Nigerian passport, they have the way my names were written on the Nigerian passport. I guess somebody looked at that and had my was it my green card or social security? Either one of them. They flipped my name. It was still the same names, but they had my middle name as
your
my
first,
last name.
Yeah.
And my and the last name as my middle name.
Oh wow.
So that was so either my social security or green card, one of them had that mix. So when I wanted to join the Navy, they were like, I can't join the Navy because
those are two different people. Yeah.
So it looks like two different people.
Oh my God.
So all my documents have to match. So I have to pick one name. So looking back now, I was like, oh, that was I could have just changed my name into and have my last name as Oin Lifer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my mom was like, just flip it back to it was a mistake. They just read because I think on the Nigerian passport they write your middle name last or something. It was something they looked at what's it? I don't know if it's Nigerian passport. It was a Nigerian document that they looked at and based that mistake on that Nigerian document. I can't remember what Nigerian document it was. I don't think it was a passport, but it was a Nigerian document that I had with me that they based that mistake on, and that's where they wrote they changed that name. So I had to go to court and change my name and then back to my original names, which is weird. Because the judge asked me, like, why are you changing your name? What do you change your name to? I'm changing my name back to my name.
Because they messed it up.
It's like, but why are you making the change? And I was like, so I can join the Navy? Oh, all right. Granted. Pow. Still, we'll still charge $25, but granted. Pow.
25?
Yeah, it was $25.
Jesus,
which to me, when I had $0 then, it was like, oh, huge money.
Yeah, oh my God.
I mean, it's still big money though.
Yeah.
Don't, but yeah.
That's a cup of coffee in New York.
Oh man. I'm telling you, especially now. This was what, 2008. So yeah. So where that stop? Yeah. So million of your names. So you're already giving us one clue to the next question I was going to ask. Where were you born?
So I was born in Senegal, Western Africa, in Dakar, the capital. So my mom is Senegalese, my dad is Togolese, and they met in Senegal. You remember that company Air Afrique?
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was a pilot of Air Afrique. The pilot school was in Dakar, so like he moved from Lomé, the capital of Togo, to Dakar. And, he was working for the company until he went bankrupt.
Oh, man. That company, I don't think if you hadn't asked me about that company, I don't think I would have realized that I still remember that name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that name until
back
now.
in the 90s, man. It was everything. 80s, 90s, man. It was everything.
Yeah, that was one of those. That was one of the star airlines, man.
Yeah.
Dang. Air Afrique.
Air Afrique. Man.
Lee. Man, I need to write that name down. So I'll go look it up again. I can't believe I forgot about that being in existence until you asked. Wow, man. That's sad, man. That's just sad, man. I was like, man, I completely forgot that airline existed.
Yeah, you see.
Completely erased.
Like one of
we lost some good airlines.
Yeah, we did, man.
Yeah. Yes. So your parents met in Dakar, and that's where you were born. And so what was childhood like in?
So, my dad traveled a lot since he was a pilot. My mom at the time when I was growing up in Senegal, she was secretary for the embassy of Taiwan in Senegal. At the time, Senegal was recognizing Taiwan back in the 90s until the new president came and was like, you know what, we're going to recognize mainland China,
Yeah,
and
I remember.
the embassy of Taiwan had to pack their stuff and leave.
Yeah.
But at the same time, or maybe a year or 2 years before that, we're gonna move to Ivory Coast anyway, to Cote d'Ivoire. I like to say Cote d'Ivoire better than Ivory Coast.
I can't. I can never spell Cote d'Ivoire. Every time I try,
Mm-hmm.
I always mess up the spelling. So I just stick with
They're
Ivory
like
Coast.
accents, like
I love saying Cote d'Ivoire too.
Cote
But
d'Ivoire,
every time
yeah.
I write, I have to write Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
I mess up the spelling.
No, so yeah, me because at the time Air Afrique had all the pilot base in Cote d'Ivoire in Abidjan.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved in 98 from Dakar to Abidjan. We stayed there for 5 years, but like in between, Air Afrique went bankrupt, and the civil war in Senegal, not in Senegal, in Cote d'Ivoire started.
Yeah.
So, I was going at the French international school at the time. They destroyed that school because they thought the French were like against their interests. So like they burned down the French school. I remember I didn't go to school for a month.
Wow.
I had to come back to Senegal. So like in 2003, we came back to Senegal. And from 2003, 05, I believe, my mom won the green card at the lottery visa. And that was our first trip to the US. We came to New York. We were staying in Spanish Harlem. Oh man, it was culture shock and stuff. We got our
Okay,
yeah.
Hold on. We'll come back to
Okay.
Spanish Harlem.
Yeah.
I don't want you to go too far.
All right. Yeah, let me know.
I have a question about your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So, staying with your childhood, what do you consider to be your favorite childhood memory?
Oof.
Where does that come from? Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire,
I mean,
or somewhere else?
Some of my favorite childhood. There's one with my dad where we're going to that fair in Senegal. Like that was basically the cathedral of in the car, like Catholic, cathedral, had also a fair in there, like a parking lot kind of, which was huge. And there are like bumper cars, there are like, the carousel and stuff. And my dad, every time when he was coming back from a trip, he would take me there. It was just the two of us sometimes, I really like those moments. Like that's the first one that comes back to my mind. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well, was that organized by the Catholic Church or?
Yeah, they owned that thing. They were getting definitely money from it because I don't know, maybe a partnership, but it was on the ground. Like,
was it a once a year thing or was it?
At the beginning, it was a once a year thing. But then when they saw how popular it is, they kept like the attraction part of it.
Okay.
And they just scaled down on the stands. So once a year, the whole area, the whole like grounds of the cathedral is filled with other vendors, like mom and pop shop, like artists and stuff. And the rest of the year, it's scaled down to like maybe the rides and stuff like that. Just a bunch of rides, but like because they knew how popular it was.
It's reminding me of minus the theme park things going on. It's reminding me of the bazaar. Yeah, we had something at our Catholic church in Benin City once a year. What did we call it? I think we called it bazaar too.
Mm-hmm.
But it was once a year. I'm trying to remember what time of the year. I can't recall the exact period in the year. But it was like a Thanksgiving type of event. There were fruits and all manner of things, but there was like vendors selling stuff. And we always look forward to that. It's coming back to me right now. That's why I was asking if it was the Catholic Church that organized it. But I knew on the grounds of the Catholic Church, we went to St. Paul's Cathedral in Benin City, which was like a big cathedral. And there was plenty of space for vendors to set up over there, but not enough for like a big carousel and all that kind of stuff. But you we're always looking forward to that because you buy stuff, and it was more like eating stuff
Oh yeah,
for the
me
kids.
was
Yeah,
eating
so
cotton candy.
yeah,
Oh
so
my god,
that's what's coming back to
like
my mind. Like, oh yeah,
crepes.
I'd forgotten about
Yeah,
that too. So
yeah.
yeah, so yeah, you brought that. Yeah, you reminded me of a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. So one thing I forgot to announce to the audience is that there's going to be a different format um, when it comes to this episode. Like, so I'm going to talk about, we'll cover Benny's arrival in America in the first part of this episode, and then in the second part, then we'll dive into his dealing with addiction and all the other stuff.
Mhm.
So back to the episode. So we're gonna jump to your arrival in Spanish Harlem.
Mhm.
So how old were you when you arrived in the United States?
So I was a little clarification. We came and visited couple times before I came and
Oh,
settled
okay.
for a year. So Spanish Harlem 2005 was the first trip we had. We came in to come and go to the Social Security mostly. First time in trip because you know how it works. Once you have the green card, you need to come here to get it because you still need to apply for the visa to come and get it. So for people who don't know, the vetting process of having a green card, lottery visa is not like you won, you come in. No, you won, then they study your case. I remember going at waking up at 5 a.m., 5:30 to be at the embassy of the United States of America at 7 a.m., all they had if you're 13-year-old, you need to take like a HIV test, make sure they have like
Okay,
all
so
those
you guys is similar to ours too.
yeah.
So you do the HIV test. You guys do the fingerprints too.
The
at
fingerprints, they make sure they
For
ask
the
you
background
questions,
check.
background check. They make sure also you have a place to stay, you have enough money in Kaye. It's so all these now we pass all those tests, and 5 came. We visited the city, we went to the social security to get our social security and green cards, and we went back to Senegal. And at the time, we were not set on moving definitely yet
Okay.
because I wanted to finish high school, and also my dad works too. He couldn't leave work. He wanted to have a better situation for work before leaving. My mom was working at the time for an NGO that that has an office here in the state, and she was trying to get her stuff transferred.
Okay, to transfer over.
Yeah, so that all took time. So meanwhile, we'll come once a year to the US together, because when you have the green card, in order not to lose it,
okay.
you need to make a trip. You need to make a trip to the US once a year, and it's hard, because planning for that trip every year, it has to be done during Easter time, which is I was missing like a week of school back in Senegal and stuff. So
okay, I understand now.
Yeah.
I understand because because it's usually the other way around for most of us. When we get a green card, it's like we depart.
Yeah,
That's it, we're gone. But if you're going to do it the way you guys did it, because the other option, which is rarely talked about, is what you guys did, is that you have the option of also making sure the green card does not expire, which is true, but you have to be going and coming back. But it's not easy because it's not easy on the pockets.
Oh yeah,
It's expensive.
It was super expensive.
Yeah, super expensive,
Yeah.
and that's the side that people do not talk about. But but as far as you keep going and coming back, your green card will not expire.
Yeah.
So, yes, that is one side of it that we do not usually talk about, because everybody is just set on, I get a green card and I'm gone.
Yeah.
So all the money I'm raising is to buy a ticket to leave.
Yeah.
I'm not coming back until I've made that money, then I come back.
Yeah.
That's it. So, yes, thanks for bringing that.
Yeah, no, people, a lot of people, once they got it, they're like, bye.
Yeah,
I'm out.
you see me when I make that money, I'll come back with the money from Obodo Ibo, as we say in Nigeria. Obodo Ibo, I bring that money. Yeah.
So finally in '08, I graduate from high school. So I moved to Pittsburgh because in '06 and '07, I was at my aunt's place in Pittsburgh. And I really love the city. It reminds me of home, like especially Pittsburgh is a sports city with the Steelers and stuff. And Senegal also is, with the national team. After the game, you take public transportation. Everybody talks to you about the game. They don't talk to you. They don't know you. They don't know you. And when I was in Pittsburgh, I was at the bus stop one time, and this guy was like, "Yo, man, did you see the Steelers game and stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, wow, this is like home, man. Like everybody's the coach, and they talk to you about the game. He doesn't even know you. I was like, yeah, he had that homey feeling. And Pittsburgh is like that. It's a city, but it has that village vibe that people can be they're not snobby at all. They can come and talk to you and be like, "Oh, yeah, those Steelers, man, they messed up. Those Penguins, they messed up. Oh, what about Rolly's Burger? Like he did like that." And I was like, yeah, people are kind of, that reminds me of home. That, and also I wanted to study computer science, and University of Pittsburgh, where I went to, had an excellent computer science program. In addition of having CMU on the CMU is Carnegie Mellon University, which is arguably the best university when it comes to computer science. That was in the same area, and we could take classes there, if we wanted to.
Yeah,
like they had the exchange. You could, as a student at Pitt, sometimes you could take classes at CMU Carnegie. So I was like, yeah, all the cards out there. So graduate from high school in Senegal. In 2 weeks, I need to move to Pittsburgh because in less than a month I started college. So I was like, yeah, it was tough. I was like,
any break?
No, I didn't get any break. How come? I knew English like people know Spanish here, a little bit to survive. I had to learn. I was able to understand my class fairly easy, especially math. Math is math, I was good in math and stuff. The people I could understand were like my peers in the dorms, because slang, English slang is the English language is very, very funny. And, for example, when you tell somebody, "Hey, do you want to go out tonight?" The guy tell you like, "Yeah, I'm down." That means yes. But he can also say, "Yeah, I'm up for it." "I'm up, I'm down." It's the same thing. How is that possible when they say, And also you need to know your prepositions in English, there's a huge difference between pass out and pass away. If you take I remember one time I was arguing with this guy, and I'm serious about it. I'm about to fight this guy, and I'm like, "Yo, man, I'm gonna knock you up," because I was thinking of saying knock you out, right? But I said knock you up, and he started laughing, and I was like, "What are you laughing about, man?" Like knock up means like getting somebody pregnant, and I was like, uppercut, knocking up, for me it's the same shit, the same stuff. But oh my god. And what's funny, it diffused the situation. Like we couldn't fight anymore after that.
Of course.
That was
it was like, indirectly.
You mean knock me out? I was like, out,
man.
Whatever, man. For me it was the same thing. And then so the culture shock was funny. Like people were taking advantage of that. My friends were playing prank on me. They would be like, the hump day, like Wednesday is hump day.
Yeah.
They would be like, "Oh, hump day, people have sex on Wednesdays. It's called humping."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." Like why not? Because this country, people are crazy, right? Like sex on Wednesday,
man.
hump day. Yeah, that's why they call it hump day. Not hump day because it's the middle of the week. It's like, a hump. Then now it's going down. Yeah. but it was fun. Like,
Hey, hey, we learn. Hey, hey,
no, we
hey, they
learn.
took advantage of me too. But hey, all of us, man, we had to go through that learning curve,
I know,
and
man. Like,
I think for someone like you, it's still better than someone like. I think for those of us who are on the English, the English side, I think it's worse for us in a way because we act like I think we come with that feeling of we already speak English, so it's easier, and then we still realize that wait a minute, what's going on?
yeah,
We don't have, we still don't understand. Like what? I thought we watched all the movies. We understand all. Nah, you still don't understand.
yeah,
You
no,
still have to go through the
man.
learning.
Learning,
God, you're
yeah.
still learning. Even up to this day, I'm still learning, and I'm like, okay. Okay, yeah, okay. Like before I left the house today, my daughter said to me, "Papa, you don't know everything." I said, "Yeah, I don't know everything. I'm not gonna lie. It's not today. I'm gonna start claiming. The day I tell you I know everything, just know your papa is lying." And she 4 year old. They're devils.
Oh my
Just
god.
yeah, they're just giving me heavy drama,
Yeah.
heavy drama. But yeah, that's that sounds like a whole episode we need to do.
Oh no, yeah. On
Yeah,
like fresh off the boat or something. Like, I don't
yeah.
know, like the culture shock of America. But yeah,
So you will go from Pittsburgh, and how did you still end up in New York?
so while I was in Pittsburgh in '08, my family was family. So my dad moved first, right? And he settled in Freeport, New York, in Long Island. My mom got her transfer got accepted. So I moved in August of 2008. They moved in April of 2009.
Okay.
And they moved with my little brother, my little sister, and they was started living in Freeport. My mom was commuting to the city. My dad had a job. Um, he was working for like a mechanic for like an aviation company that was making parts for like for like planes. And I was going there for the holidays twice a year, once at Christmas and once during the summer. Usually that's how we worked. Um, and 2014, my dad, so like little thing, my dad once Air Africa was bankrupt, he was able to find a job with the UN mission when um we had to go back from Cote d'Ivoire back to Dakar to Senegal.
Okay.
He came with us, but then he went back, to work with the UN peace mission there.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a great job, and but he was a contractor. He was not like a full-time employee.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they called him for a mission this time that was going to be in South Sudan. And at the time he was in New York with us, like with the family. I was in Pittsburgh. And at the time I was finishing up with a job that was like a temp for hire. And instead of staying and trying to find a job, he asked me if I wanted to come back to New York because my sister was going to school, to college. My boy was going to be only my little brother, who was 13 years younger than me. So at the time, 12, he's 19 now, 2000. He was 12 years old. So like 11, 12, he was only going to be with my mom who works in the city and stuff. So to have another like adult figure around, that's why he asked me if I could come back, and I was like, yeah, sure. So I come back, I move in, I find a nice job in the city. I work for like a media company, and that's how I moved in 2014. I moved from Pittsburgh to New York and started working in the city. So I was living at home, commuting with my mom, to the city. She was going to her office, I was going to mine, and yeah.
All right. So we shall take a quick break, and when we come back, we shall get into the stairways to redemption, and how we got to that part of your life story.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. So, was it while you were in New York that you fell into, how will I put it? That you fell into the, should I don't want to say darkness now. That the whole,
Hello, darkness, my friend.
yeah, hello, darkness, my friend.
Yeah.
I like to say I embrace my darkness. So
Yeah.
I don't use that. That's why I don't use darkness as a metaphor.
Yeah.
But how did your whole addiction? I can't say the whole. We can't get the whole addiction picture. I don't think we have enough time to cover the whole thing. But how did the whole? When did you realize that? Did the addiction problem begin? When did you? Let me put it that way.
So if I were to put like an age to it, I would say like around 25-year old. I'm 32 now, so it was like 2015. I was working for like a good media company, like and
Was that in New York?
in New York, yeah, the
Okay.
job in New York. Like Pittsburgh, I always managed. I was just drinking socially, like, people were doing and stuff. And I was not really into drugs and stuff. Now I come in New York and like the lifestyle is crazy. Like I remember the company, like, we had like tasting Thursdays. So Thursdays, every Thursday, there's a liquor company that comes with like, something for us to try. We had like a kegerator at work, like you party with coworkers, everybody is doing drugs. Yeah, the people you hang out with, like, and I started hanging out with, and a combination of like, in order to keep up partying, at one point you need to take, probably gonna keep it in the eye. I needed to take something, and happened that cocaine was a perfect drug to keep, you know, partying ever. So at the beginning starts with like, you party till 4. After 4, you try to party longer. So like you find yourself going to after hours, to after parties, and the after hours are usually in like, Brooklyn area, like warehouses. And I'm a fan of like techno deep house music. That's my scene. I hang out with those people. Then after like we hang out longer. So like you easily, I would say like for 2015, in 2 years, I started being a regular of those after hours. So I would go, especially when I was living in Long Island, there was no, I hated like having to go back all the way to Long Island. So I would like party as much as I could and then go home.
Wow.
So, that in conjunction with the fact that, after my upbringing, all the things like the civil war that happened in Ivory Coast, we had also hardship when like, Air Africa was bankrupt. My dad wasn't working at the time. My mom wasn't working at the time. So all my life, I was in like survivor mode, like, get your grades, like learn new language, immigrate, And that was the first time where I was like making good money, having fun. And I was, in my mindset, I was like, all right, it's time to, finally breathe, take a break and assimilate. I wanted now to blend in because, hey, I'm not surviving. I'm not like fighting for my life. I don't want to use the term fighting for my life, but I don't have anything now to
It
chase.
wasn't like you were in this. How will I put it? Like you were. It wasn't like you were drowning. It's like
Yeah,
like out of the water,
now my
struggling
head,
for breath anymore.
now my head was above
Yeah, your head is
water.
out of the water.
And I was like, hey, I'm just gonna do. And how do
Yeah.
you fit in the US? You party, you feed, you drink, you party with people, and And I never. And the way I was doing drugs, I was not even looking at how much I was doing. I was like, yo, I survived. I was born in in Africa, like a third world country. I survived, like like a country that was torn by civil war. I was like, there's no way those drugs gonna get me down, And I just
Yeah.
underestimated like how hooked in it you can be.
Yeah.
So I didn't notice how progressively it was, like I was starting missing family events. I started missing you know,
It
like
was affecting
gathering,
work.
like, my aunt, for example, came from her family, from friends, and I was still going out partying instead of hanging out with them,
Wow.
because, I wanted to be in my world.
Mm-hmm.
I was started isolating. And I believe in 2017 or 2018, like the big event that I had to come forward to my mom that I fell into addiction was I had to go back to Pittsburgh for my aunt's 50th birthday, and I missed the flight and I didn't show. I didn't even text my mom. I just didn't show to Pittsburgh. And when she came
Oh.
back, like, she was like, she didn't even talk. I was like, all right, this is what's happening to me. She knew, she had, like, she could tell that something was wrong, but um, but since I did not come clean to her, she couldn't just
Did
comfort.
your mom ever confront you before that?
No, she never confronted me. She was like, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why you keep missing those, like, events and stuff?" And that time I would just run out or lie. I was like, yeah, I have to come clean that, like, I
Hmm.
fell into addiction. And that I was just tired of trying to cover my tracks at this point. And I went to rehab in West Palm Beach in Florida, one of those nice
That sound
places.
like an expensive one.
Yeah, it was not like in the highest range, but we still, like, we'll go, like, paddle boarding. We will go to, like, escape rooms. We're going to the gym every
Escape
day.
rooms.
Yeah, like, those escapes where you need to solve puzzle to move from room to room and escape. Like, you never did that.
Oh. Uh,
You,
yeah, there was something else coming to my mind. I was surprised that was part of rehab. But I don't want to cut before you go on.
Mhm.
There was something that you said that it brought something to mind. So, when when you talked about, you were thinking that, you're from third world country, an African country, and you were like, this wouldn't affect you, doing stuff like this, the drugs, this lifestyle wouldn't. This is kind of like nothing,
Mhm.
It's not supposed to affect people like us.
Mhm.
It reminded me of early in my Navy career, like the first friends I made after I graduated boot camp, and I just come out of basic training, and I joined the fleet officially. I'm a sailor now, and yeah, I think that's the moment I hung out with the wrongest crowd ever. And we were drinking crazy. That's when I drank like a sailor. So there was this, well, yeah, this white boy, and he was a mama's boy. He came from a wealthy family. He got kicked out of the Navy not long after. But I knew him from boot camp, and there are some people who don't talk to me, who I went to the Navy with, who, because of that boy, they don't talk to me up to this day. But a few of them will come around later on. But there are some who I think some people associate me with that boy. I didn't realize he was a racist. Yeah, he's a racist, not was. He's a
Mhm.
racist. I don't think he will ever change. But I was the black friend in his crew back then. I didn't know anything. You're brand new to America, so what do you know? And he was always buying beers. Like there was like at least 24 bottles of beer, in 24 cans,
Mhm.
ready, steady. He was supplying the drinks. So every night, we always gather in his room. All of us love free drinks, and he will load us up, booze, 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 and we'll drink, 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 drink. And it was that mindset of, this look at it, these white boys who are passing out. I'm from Nigeria, like this, nothing. This is not our type. This is not even our type of beer. It's not
Uh-huh.
even good beer, that kind of thing. So I remember talking to somebody like that. I think it's either a Nigerian in the UK or a Nigerian back home, and it was that mindset of, it's not, we've survived more
Yeah.
than them.
Mhm.
So if they are spending the money, let's spend the money. I'll keep drinking it.
Yeah.
But if certain things didn't happen in life that will separate us at the right time, I probably could have gone If you had told me back then that was a problematic behavior
Mm-hmm.
that you were on, if you keep drink like that, you're gonna be an alcoholic. I would have thought, man, get out of here. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's free drinks. That's what I'm
Yeah.
doing. But luckily, life happened and we got separated at the right time, and that's the reason why I just didn't take to drinking like crazy, and because I couldn't afford it. That's just the economics of it. I couldn't afford to. I'm not going to be buying loads of booze like that. So yeah, that happened, and so I kind of mellowed down. But when the booze was just coming steady,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was like, yeah, keep it coming,
Yeah.
and I was just drinking. But it was like, oh, free booze, and the guy kept supplying. But I should have said no a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll just be drinking, and then look at the time, man. When am I going to sleep? And then I'll show up to Mustard the next day, and it was like, man, you're drained. You walking in somewhere, you see me one time, I was like, man, you look tired. Nah, man, I can still run 1.5 miles and this, that, and my time started dropping. You still be like, man, I'm from Nigeria, man. I can still run faster than these white boys. But you start telling yourself all these things in your mind. But the signs were there. I was just lucky that certain things in life happened at the right time, and that just put me on a different course. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I think some of us, that's how we start telling ourselves that what we are doing is not problematic.
Yeah, that we are invincible, basically,
Mhm.
because we've seen worse, and
Yeah,
that's not true.
it's not true.
Yeah, my mom was really mad. Like, she was pissed. She was like, after everything that we went through, that's how you're gonna go down. Like, the first time she was not very understanding. Like, the first time when I went to rehab in Florida, I thought alcohol was not my problem, that it was just drugs. So, I go, I listen to what they have to say, and they tell you, oh, there's one thing I wish they didn't tell me, that, like, you probably not gonna get it your first time. Which, the way it worked on me was like, I wanted to be like one and done so badly that when I came back and I went to my old habits, I was like, no matter what, I'm not going back to rehab, because I want to fix it myself. Like, no matter what.
So was it like you thought it would be a pill that you just take? And
no, like, I thought, like, that, like, because I wanted to show them, or like myself, that, like, I'm gonna get it in one go. Like,
Okay.
I just need to go to rehab once. But I was told, like, that's unlikely. The statistic, like, that you're probably gonna come back here later. And I was like, who the fuck they think they're? Sorry.
Okay. So
Like,
wait,
yeah.
do you feel like because they told you the first time, that kind of set you up?
Yeah,
to
so like,
fail?
because I should have gone back to rehab, like, maybe sooner than the second time, because it took me some time to admit that, like, I had relapse, because when I came back, I was still hanging out with the same crew of people. I was still
okay.
partying with them, but I was, like, able to manage it better, until my mom and I had I was just at home for way too long, and I was like, you know what? Let me move to a different city, because, like, I knew that if I had hang out with the same people for long again, progressively, I would have fallen into my old habits. Like, let's say at a rate of a greater rate of 100%. At the time when I just came back from rehab, I was hanging out with the same people, but I already relapsed. I was already doing the same stuff,
Yeah.
but, like, at the lesser rate, managing, So I was like, oh, let's move to a new city, Philadelphia, and I moved there, like, before COVID. And I was like, okay, now I just need to make new group of friends, and not, like, touch the stuff. But I didn't work on me, on my addiction myself, in a way. And when you're an addict and you go to a new place, oh my God, it's like you have superpowers. You can see one detail. Like you see stuff that nobody else sees who is not an addict. You see
Wow.
somebody, you see like, okay, this one has drug. This one is on this right now. Look at his eyes. He's on this, on this. And you talk to those people and quick enough, you can rebuild your connect like that, you know. There's that bar in Philly where like I go and watch soccer. So like, you know, that was like our like an Irish pub where like, you know, they show Premier League game at 7. You know, when it's 7 a.m. here, it's
Mm-hmm.
12 in the UK.
Yep.
So the bar will be open at 7. You know, the people in there, some of them like, you know, they all drink and do drugs. So that was my temple. So I was there like, you know, all the time. I would like hang out with those guys, those Irish guys and stuff. Like you know, and before I know it, like I'm doing my old stuff. But meanwhile, I still manage because I was working still, my job was still in New York. So I was going to New York twice a week and working from home the rest of the week until COVID
Oh.
started. So I was doing the commute thing
Mm-hmm.
before COVID. And then when COVID started, I was working from home all the time. And I still, you know, I was still managing. I was not like, you know, I was paying my bills on time. I was what we call a functioning alcoholic. And there was one event of, I believe, that was December 2020. There was an electrical fire in the building I live, like, you know, at the switch in the basement, at the switch level. So like they needed to shut the power in the whole building and redo it.
Yeah.
And we were sent in hotels. So imagine even luxurious hotel, like, you know, the hotel is not like bigger than this room. Uh, and you cannot cook. Couldn't go to the gym. Everything was closed due to COVID. And that's when like I really spiraled down. And I didn't even notice that until I got out of there because, you know, I'm pretty disciplined. Like in the morning, I do my bed, I would go to the gym, like, you know, not in the morning, in the afternoon, every day. You know, I make my own coffee, press. I have my ritual, right? When I was in that hotel for a month, we were there for 45 days. Um, I couldn't do all that. So that's when I started like just doing drugs, like, you
Mm.
know, booze, drugs. Like the Wi Fi was like terrible. So even working as a computer scientist, as a software engineer, I had terrible Wi Fi for work. So I couldn't do like the tasks that I wanted. I was frustrated with
Yeah.
like, you know, so like I pick up the worst habit there. And when I went back to my apartment, when it was resolved, I couldn't readjust. Now it was me drugging and drinking and drugging in the middle of the week when I've worked the next day. You know, like
Wow.
it was like bad habits and work starting suffering. You know, and what? So a year after that, you know, now I'm like I'm struggling. Like still work, but sometimes I miss days. Sometimes, you know, like my performance is not as good. But I still maintain my revenues and stuff. I show up at work. I show up at, you know, I come home sometime, you know. But I'm not I can see slowly my finances deteriorate, you know.
Yeah.
And the following year, the following year, the winter of 2021, our company that I was working for get bought by BuzzFeed. You know, they're like readjustment. I got let go with a severance package. Like, you know, so I'm like, anyway, you know, what was funny at the moment I got let go, there was a combination of things. Like I was working for them for like 7 years and I was stalling. And stalling mentally because I was not learning new stuff. Partly for my fault because, you know, um, I didn't try to learn new things on my own there. And also, I think I outgrew that job. I should have left like 2 years before that on my own accord to just move and learn, go to another company. But I let it because in the way you were raised, you never give up, you never quit. Like
Yeah.
for me, like leaving mean that I was gonna quit or something. So I was,
Something we are
yeah,
raised with.
yeah. So I mean, I really, that was the kind of job where like I love the coworkers, I love the environment. It's just the code that I was writing at the time when I was sitting down and writing my code. I'm like, I'm writing code for people to to access, you know, what Kim Kardashian did. And I was like, this is not meaningful shit. So I had, I had better aspiration. What happened? And the fact that I was making good money, that I was in an environment that I like, I thought I was, at the time, I was being greedy.
Mm.
So, and everybody at the time was telling me, oh man, that company, that job is so great, like you're doing so well and stuff. Meanwhile, they don't understand that internally I'm suffering. I'm like, yo, I'm not making a dent in this
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
So I thought like I should not complain. So,
You
but
weren't being challenged.
yeah, I shouldn't complain, because others had it worse. But my subconscious was crying. And in conjunction with the drugs, it made it even, it was a way for me to escape, when I was in my world. So I'm a person who likes to be alone, right? I'm more of like but like there's a difference between solitude and isolation. I was in my own world, like alone, but not lonely. And I have my social battery. So like I can go toward people. But when that social battery depletes, I'm by myself. I recharge and stuff. The drugs made being alone better, but the side effect of it was that you are isolating. So like I was not even recharging, talking to others
Yeah.
after. Um, but yeah, like once I was told that I was gonna get let go, I felt a weight lift off my chest because I didn't quit. I was let go, but I wasn't even angry. And that was before they told me that they were gonna give me a several package. So I was like, oh my God, this is great. Now I'm free.
Mm.
Just several packages there, and I'm telling myself, yeah, I'm gonna take my time, I'm gonna travel, I'm not gonna go to the workforce right now. But meanwhile, those bad habits I pick up, I need to keep up with them. And the money goes fast. So there is a dichotomy between your mind of how you deal with things and the addiction that's like, hey man, take care of me. You need this, you need that. So you can think sometime that like, okay, I have this much money, I could travel for a little bit and stuff. But meanwhile, your addiction is like, oh, you need to take care of me, you need to buy this. And while you're high, you're not functioning at all. Like you can only think straight when you sober for like those little intervals. And meanwhile, when you're in those sober in those little intervals, you start thinking great. You're like, wait, what happened to $5,000? I just like spent $5,000. Like how? Like,
Wow.
So instead of like cleaning my act up and getting myself ready to find a new job, I was just like procrastinating, not doing anything. Like I could sleep like 12 hours a day, after like a 3-day bender. So for me, like today it could be Monday, right?
Yeah.
I will be like, wait, where did Friday go? Like,
Wow.
yeah, that was that kind of stuff. And a year later, so now to 2022, where we at right now, uh um my best friend couldn't, like, my friends, like my real close friends, started now worrying about me. My best friend who lives, good friend of mine who lives in France, couldn't get in touch with me and stuff. We usually Skype talk, and it got harder to get a hold of me. So he called my mom on me. Like him and another friend were able to get my mom's number. They called home. My mom came home, to my apartment in Philly. I remember texting her when she was on her. My dad was basically told me, yeah, your friend Tomo, call your mom, call mom, she's on her way. And I'm like, why she's coming? Like, I don't want her here, that, like, She came. We went back to Long Island. I chilled there for like 2 weeks, and then I went back to Philly and fell right away to my old habits.
Oh man.
And not even a week, right? Not like the same. And that time I was like, you see, nah, yeah, you cannot be in that space because the building I was living in was like, oh my God, it was. I had a crew there. Like there was no one to catch the other. Like people could show up at my place at 4 a.m. Like hang out,
Yeah.
stuff. Like there was like other people also who were like into the stuff we were doing. So you could want to get your stuff together, but there was always somebody else there
Mm-hmm.
to tempt you.
Yeah.
Not voluntarily. It's not like they were tying me down and shoving a bottle
Yeah,
of alcohol.
I
No, but
understand.
it's just like sometimes you don't even tell them that you're trying to get your act clean. So like you just go to the motions. So I just had to leave that environment, and that was in the summer of 2022 that I went back to rehab for the second time, and this time I was like, you know what, let's go, let's do it for real, and yeah.
And this time when you went back to rehab,
Mhm.
you went to rehab in New York.
In the Hamptons, yeah,
Okay.
and that one was nice, but it was not the resort. It was not like Florida. We didn't had like escape room or like paddle boarding. No, it was like you sit down in a room, you open a book, you talk about yourself. And yeah, and I don't, that one was like very, very hands on. And like we did a lot of like self work. There was a lot of AA meetings. Yeah. And when I started being in there, I started thinking about what I wanted to do with my life. And I really, so a little bit thing about me is like I suffer from like survivor guilt. Like, when I was back in Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, I always wonder why uh, I was able to make it here. Like, I know I work hard,
Mm-hmm.
to make it here, but I can tell you there are like people who are like kinder than me, who work as hard as I did, didn't make it here, right? So sometimes I was feeling guilty a lot for the luck that I had, and sometimes I couldn't like just phantom and live with that weight. I was, because there's one thing that I hate is luck, because luck is not logical. I'm a very pragmatic, logical person. Luck can happen to bad, good people.
Yeah, I
And the
agree. A
fact
lot
that like I
happens
was
to
in addition of working hard, that I was lucky, I hate that. Like, and you know so my goal in life was to help others, who are not as so lucky, so they can have a chance. Those people that I consider that are better than me, who are like kinder than me. You know, those people should have a chance to aspire to what they want to be. So that was my goal before the addiction took over.
Mm.
Be a better man than the man I was before. And while I was in rehab for the second time, I remember that, and I was like, "How can I help?" And you came to mind, your story, the podcast. I was like, now I can share my story, because while we're talking, you and I, while we're talking, I didn't feel comfortable telling my story as an immigrant here while I'm suffering of addiction. So that's why I was dodging you,
Yeah.
because
I
I
remember
did,
when you reached out to me and told me, and I was like,
yeah.
wow, that's yeah, I really appreciate you telling me that, because I was like, knowing with the immigrant community, it's not like I don't know people who have come across people who are addicted, and it's not we don't start conversations that way, and you were just upfront, and I was like, whoa,
No, yeah, I wear my recovery on my sleeves,
because
like,
I have someone in the family
yeah.
who's been through that, and he's never started a conversation with that. Is still something that
Oh.
it's like we
No.
never, and so that's why I was like, I really appreciated that. And that's why I was like, hey, first thing there, like, hey man, I'm there for you always. I always support you, and you're like, even if you had reached out to me back then and you had mentioned it,
Mm-hmm.
the what I would have said is maybe I don't know how to bring the story. I haven't figured out to make an episode yet because there's still some people whose episodes I haven't figured out how to, because I'll try to tailor each person's episode to themselves, and I would have said we'll work on it.
Yeah.
Work on it. That's
Yeah.
what I would say.
You see.
But it's not something that I would have rejected you just because you were you're an addict. That
Yeah.
now I would have said that's I would the first thing I would have done was give you a compliment.
Yeah.
Because the honesty, the transparency is the first thing that has to be commended.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's too many of us. We especially those of us from our background, the way we act like we are supposed to be invincible.
Oh yeah.
And that's how we fall into this trap, and we fall into and then we now act like, oh, we are ashamed, and then we now can't come out and face it. Like, me, I'm a veteran with disabilities. I own up to it. I tell people that I'm on medication, and I remember I was on another Nigerian's platform, and the day I mentioned it, somebody attacked me, and I knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, so you have your PTSD? So you think you're making sense right now? What you're saying?" And I was like, "Huh." So you're the type who makes other men afraid to come out, and say anything because you just start attacking. And you're attacking. But guess what that person is always trying to say? Is like Nigeria, the only way Nigeria can get better is if we have nuclear weapon. That's the only thing.
Who's that guy, man? Who do you hang out with, man?
So I was like, interesting. But, when we want to talk about issues that affect us, man, you want to start attacking the men. So, no, somewhere like that, I wouldn't allow him come near you because he thinks all men are just super, and he's the type who I saw a weakness one day when he was on the platform, and I could use that to attack him.
Yeah.
But I just knew the type of person he was. So no, that type of person, I'm not bringing him on my platform because I know he's not transparent, he's not legit. So we don't need people like that here. There are other platforms for them. They should go there.
Yeah, there are for trolls. But me, I wear my sobriety on my sleeve because I'm not afraid of whoever wants to attack me. I was how to say it. Ridicule doesn't bother me much because I'm gonna sound a little bit arrogant, but I'm smarter and stronger than a lot of people. So.
You are.
So
the way put the truth out there, what can they use? They can't use anything.
The way I will always approach somebody who will make fun of me was, I'm smarter than him. I can make him feel stupid. If I cannot make him feel stupid, I can always beat his ass. So like just knowing that was like, what am I wasting my time for?
There you go.
But what I learned in rehab was that approach is condescending, like you don't need to feel like I have a feeling a little bit of superiority when I feel like that, which sometimes that's why like I'm a person, if I don't argue with you, it's not that like you want the debate, it's just I feel like you're too stupid for me, my value.
My brother, don't waste your time.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever, like I don't. So like with me I'm not worrying about anyone attacking me on my sobriety. But what I learned is coming from an angle of compassion. Like when people attack you, sometimes they're suffering themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's something that like I'm like, wow, like that's an angle because when even I wasn't reacting to the attack, but I was feeling myself, I can beat them anytime. The side effect of that thought was I loved retaliation because retaliation is amazing. you get to hit that other person twice as hard and still keep the moral high ground because you were hit first. So I was like, all right, come and provoke me. You will see. And what it started doing is when you get back at people, when you use vengeance and retaliation, most of the time it's not what that person did to you. You start like dealing punches or like, for everything else that other people did to you. So
Yeah.
for an example, for just fairness is not, but like once I got myself out of that mindset and I was like, oh, that person is attacking you. That's not necessary. They're not out there to get you.
No.
It's like they're suffering too. And
it's like, sorry to interrupt you, but it reminds me of the teachers that used to beat us when we were kids.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
Yeah. It was not about what we did wrong. When they would say, well, I'm giving you 12 strokes or 30 strokes, whatever strokes. But, especially when we will absorb the flogging without moving and without flinching. And the more you didn't move, the more they will increase the flogging.
Yeah.
And they started, but it was the frustration with their lives.
Yeah.
They took their frustration on you, on us, the kids.
Yeah.
And that's all it was.
That's
the
all it
moment
was.
I realized that, because before, I used to say when I graduate from school, I would come back and beat you. We could beat most of those teachers. We grew up to be bigger than them. I knew some students who grew up, who after graduating, they came back and beat some of the teachers. Some of my seniors did that. And, with time, you start realizing that, those guys hadn't been paid for months, for years.
Yeah.
How were they surviving? So it was us. They were taking out their frustration. They can't go and beat the government. They can't go and beat the administrators. It's the children. It's like, I'm not saying they were right for doing that, but that were the scapegoats. And once you realize that, you feel sorry for them.
Yeah, exactly.
You just feel sorry for them. I empathize with them. I don't support what they did. But I empathize with them. So if I go back to Nigeria and I see some of them, they see me now, it's like they're greeting me like I'm their boss.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, you used to beat me back then.
Yeah.
I remember the beatings, but hey, you know what? I'll buy you a drink.
But you hit it on the nail. Like once you realize that it wasn't of you that's suffering, you feel sorry for them, and you're like, man, this guy, man, is just going through a rough time. And like it's much better to think that way. Then, right now, for example, the job that I have right now, I work in retail, like I work in a retail company and I do the online order. So sometimes I go around with, like shopping cart to get the online orders ready for the customers. And I'm doing this job as a get well job because I don't want to go back to like the tech world. While that's a job I got fresh out of rehab, just to because I don't want to make that kind of money yet before learning how to handle.
So like this a stopgap.
Yeah, exactly. Just to manage and like learn how to like proper, because sometime when you go back to that world right away, like, you see all that money you can have and that stuff, it trips some other people too. So I was like, I'm going to go to my outpatient program. I'm going to have an easy work. I'm going to do that for 6 months. And then I'm going to reinsert myself to what my degree is.
Integrate yourself back. All right.
So what I'm doing this work in retail, where sometimes when you walk around, you hear the conversation, it's a mother who, cannot find the baby formula she wants. She was like angry. Now she starts, because for those who work in retail, like the American consumer thinks that they can vent and dump all their problem on people who retail. They yell. I want to call the Karens all out in the wild, they're going berserk in the shops, and how do you mean, no, this is not your, I want to see your manager. And sometimes when you walk around, you hear a little bit of the context. Sometimes it's that woman, that is that mother that who is doing everything at home, and the husband is with his friends watching sport, drinking beer. It's not, she's yelling, I'm not going to BJ's. I'm not going there. I'm not coming back here. You better get that, Sometimes it's, one significant other who feels like they're doing everything at home and are like, oh, if I'm buying this, you're putting it together. So you start getting context of
Yeah.
what people. So when they come at you and they start yelling like at you, like I'm more compassionate. I'm like, okay, that person they're not out there to get me. I understand. Sometimes you have the true assholes that think they're like superior that you need to put in their place.
That's true.
But most of the time it's people who are just frustrated with their life. And I don't know for what reason they think that it's okay to dump their whole problem on in the retail, on the retailer employees. But that's definitely something I'm grateful for that job. Is it taught me how, the distinction. So now I can make the distinction between somebody who's frustrated because there's something else in their life and somebody who's just like plain, like mean, like, who has like bad intentions, who want to diminish you internationally. So yeah.
Last thing I'll say before I jump to final round of questions.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in customer service, and I don't think I've said this on the podcast before, but actually, I did retail in Nigeria. I did a lot of things in Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
but I did retail briefly for my elder sister, and that was the. I think it was a fair. Was it a fair or something? Yeah, it was some event in Ibadan, Western Nigeria, and yeah, you get treated. It's not only limited in America. You get treated like crap. And people who I lost money for that company. That was the first. I was a teenager, and I lost money for that because it's some church members were the people that even made me lose money because they took advantage of me. Use that church. Brother Raphael, yeah, and then they were stealing. So that was like the welcome to customer service, and then Navy, I did customer service, and then after I got out of Navy, I did some customer service via security. And all that will help me with my customer service skills, which I still use when I'm volunteering. I do volunteer work presently. And when you're doing when you're doing anything customer service, you meet all kind of people, and it helps. Like when I was in Texas working at, now it's Spectrum, but then it was Time Warner Cable. You meet all manner of people. And, at customer service customer service center. That's like one of the, it's like one of the worst places to work at because everybody's coming there to either fight over their bills, to fight over, I'm coming to cancel my internet, my customers, my cable. Yeah, so a lot of people are just coming with that anger.
Yeah.
And once they walk into the building, I'm security. I'm still at my desk. I just say, good morning or good afternoon, sir, ma'am. That's the diffusion right there. I just smile and say that, good morning or good afternoon or good evening. Because some just come in and once you just say that good morning, that greeting, and then you smile, you just see that some people just start shaking like, good, yeah, good, come on, good, where's, are you customer service? Oh, and then you see the ones who are mad who just, the ones, call you customer, you say I return, no, you don't return here, but you go return over there, okay, and then they match there. Or they won't even answer you, they just match. Some will even walk past you and walk into the glass. they won't see the glass, they just walk into the glass. Like they're so angry, they can't tell that it's a glass. You've seen all that. The guy who came to me one day, fought with the customer service, came to me, I was like, wanted to report to FBI terrorism. I was like, terrorism? What? Okay, call this number. call the FBI. He was mad at customer service, so he wanted to report them to FBI.
Wow.
But it's Texas, also, when they get too crazy, like, I don't know who has a gun here, man. Yeah. So once you're leaving, I'm calling the police and giving your number. But you know how to handle customers there because everybody got guns there,
Oh, yeah. No, I go to Houston a lot in Austin, Texas. Yeah, people.
I was in what's the town called again? Man, it was close to Dallas. It was between Dallas and Fort Worth. Man, I'm forgetting the name of this town. But man, the customer service. I made a lot of friends there, though. I made a lot of friends, but it was great. It was great. But I was glad when they moved me to the headquarters because there was so many people who were pissed.
Oh my God.
My LinkedIn is still full of employees from there, friends that I made, a lot of the staff, and oh man, I was like, people were getting mad. Like people coming there, like they were pissed, and then by the time they're leaving, you see them just smiling and like, oh, thank you, man, thank you. You good. I'm like, I'm not really a Time Warner staff, but I'm just
I'm just security here. That's funny. Oh boy.
So, before you tell us about your podcast, you're going to wrap up with your podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
I got to ask some light questions,
Okay. Light question.
You live in New York. We'll count Long Island,
Long Island is New York. It's its own ecosystem for sure.
Yeah. I still throw shade at Long Island. It's Brooklyn. Brooklyn has to throw shade at you guys. So, just because you are sober doesn't mean you don't have favorite food and drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Drinks is not limited to alcohol only. So, yeah. So when it comes to favorite food and drinks, being that you live in New York City,
Mm-hmm.
wait, do you have a favorite place to go to, or do you have a favorite food?
Oh man. So favorite place to go to. Let me think about it because
You also have the option of delivery.
yeah, no, I mean,
You know what I just found out?
what?
My wife saw that there's either somebody from Sierra Leone or Ghanaian, or maybe it's the two countries together, has put some of our food on Fresh Direct. My wife orders from Fresh Direct, and she got peanut soup, goosey, and I've forgotten the third one. But it's like a small bowl, like 1 serving.
Yeah.
It came from Fresh Direct. I was like, what is this? You just have to make your meat or fish. I was like, what? And he said, the peanut soup, he said it's Sierra Leonean food. I was like, since when? But you know what? I'll eat it. But
Oh my God.
somebody got good business going on. I was like, whoa.
When it comes to food in New York, when I was gonna always, most of the time I will eat margons. Like I like Dominican food, like Sophie's margons, those places where like they give you a lot of food, like you can go to food coma right away.
Yep.
Like
Itis.
chicharron, like
right away.
Cuban, like beef stew, those heavy food. When it comes to drink, when I was drinking, my go-to was like Tanqueray and tonic. But that's something like I don't miss at all. Like the advantage of not drinking anymore, beside the wallet, is like you don't need to worry about hangover, obviously, but like also like
I was expecting something. I'm surprised you didn't say what I was expecting.
what were you expecting?
I was expecting a juice, and you missed it.
A juice?
Mm-hmm.
Like what juice?
I'll give you a clue. You said it on your last episode of your podcast.
What oh, ginger.
Now you're talking.
Ginger is what I drink now. Yeah, I'm drink ginger everything
I was like,
now.
because I was listening to it on my way, I was like, oh, I should have told you to bring, because you were going to come. I was like, oh yes, you're going to pass. Oh yes, you have access to more ginger. I was like, oh, I should have told you to bring 1 gallon of ginger for me.
Now it's ginger and hibiscus. Those are all my favorite. Ginger and hibiscus.
That's my jam.
Yeah,
I need like a gallon of ginger.
Yeah, ginger. I like the strong ginger that tickles.
If my home girl who lives in Harlem, if she hadn't opened a daycare,
she hadn't opened a daycare.
Oh man! Last time she was here, she brought 25 liters of well, no, not 25 liters. Let me know. She was like a gallon. She brought a gallon of ginger juice.
Yeah.
I was like, girl, if you weren't married, if I had money, I could have made you my second wife, right? Here. Congolese.
Oh my God.
She used to do like what do you call it? Like she used to do an exceptional dinner. She host you a dinner experience. She made great food.
But
her heart is more in the daycare side.
Said the care side.
so-
I respect people who like taking care of somebody else's kid, man. Especially that.
Like if she was nearby, I would have put my kid there because she'll be speaking French by now, and Lingala.
In Lingala, yeah.
So I want her to speak as many languages as possible.
I mean, kids when they're young, they learn fast. They're like sponges. Like they absorb everything. Like how the heck do you know this?
Yeah, the most important thing was that I would have been getting ginger juice at the same time.
Yeah, ginger juice.
Oh yeah, because that ginger juice that she made. Oh, in this weather, all the sinus, everything have been gone.
No, like that's what I love about ginger too. Like everything
like,
sinus.
Her husband is lucky. I'm so jealous of that guy. Free ginger juice.
Hey,
you
happily married, man.
Linda, I love you. Shout out to you. If you got ginger juice, just message me. I'll pay. I'll come down to Harlem and collect it. All right. You can't leave this podcast without this other question.
Okay.
Just because you are sober does not mean you can't have fun. So, everybody who comes on this podcast, you're considered a dancer. So when it comes to dancing, we need you to dance for 1 hour. You don't have to do it right now, but
hopefully not.
we need 3 artists, at least 3 artists that can keep you dancing for an hour.
Okay. So you'll see my taste are very eclectic. So
okay.
I'm gonna go with Wizkid.
Oh my God. Okay. Stop. Let's
Zonto.
Wait. Let me rephrase the question again.
What do you mean?
Cannot be giving answers that have already been given.
Okay.
We need you to give us 3 artists that can keep you dancing for at least 1 hour.
Yeah.
Now, since you are Togolese, Senegalese, you're gonna give us at least one from each side, and you cannot be giving us the most popular artists from Nigeria.
No, okay.
Okay, now go.
No, okay. Let's disclose something. I'm from Senegal, but I hate Mbala, Mbala is the music from Senegal. I don't like it. I never like it when I was
Senegalese. Who are now writing, all the people typing emails and writing right now, I can give you Benny's email.
Oh my God, they're gonna come for
you. You can cancel him. Don't cancel me. It's not me. I love Senegalese. I love all music. Y'all know me.
Even
I love to rock to any music. So go and cancel Benny right now. I'll give you his Twitter even. Go and cancel him on Twitter. Go and cancel him everywhere. Don't cancel me. I'm fine.
You know what? Even Yusundur, man, I cannot stand it.
This guy. Hey. I love Yusuf. I love I play music. In fact, I'll play it right now.
I'm sorry.
I don't have money, so I can't play it right now. But I'll play it on Instagram.
Maybe because I listened to it too much when I was a kid, but I'm into the Nigerian guys, like, Ice Spring.
So if Nigeria is playing Senegal right now, you support Nigeria?
No. I mean, when it comes to music, like the music is better. Afrobeat is much better than what we have. I'm sorry, man. Like, Azonto and stuff. Like, I listen to that.
Who's Azonto?
Who's Azonto?
Mm-hmm.
Like Azonto music, like the dance, like, dancing Azonto.
That's Ghanaian.
Yeah, that's Ghanaian. Yeah.
Yeah. Give us an artist. We don't know.
Okay, so
an artist. If you had even mentioned MHD, would have forgiven you. Even though that
MHD from France.
I said, if you had mentioned that, I would have forgiven you.
MHG,
would have forgiven you. But Malian had mentioned that, so would have.
No. MHG, but MHG lives in France. He's also like the French side of Coupé de Calais is pretty cool too.
But you're mentioning Nigerians. I'm like, give us.
I don't know. That's
there's nobody from Togo.
No, I don't listen. The music
discrimination.
No,
look at this discrimination right here. Elon Musk. Let's call it Elon Musk. Come and carry this guy.
No,
Elon Musk. Come and carry him.
I don't need Elon to call me.
Elon Musk will come and carry you.
I mean, I love like Afrobeat music, man. When it comes to Dami Duro, like
Emmanuel Adebayo is doing is clapping. I'm like, chai. Like, what is this?
No, man.
What is this?
No, like
you fear Togolese people? El Hadji Diop is like, who are you?
No. Hey, one thing though, like Ba Mal, who did the score for the two
My man.
Black Panther.
My man.
Like that's just shout out to him. Like like the
Okay.
music. The first.
We'll save you with that. We'll save you with that.
The first Black Panther where they open on Bow Miles song when when he's talking to his father. I was like, holy moly, this is Palma. I know that song, and that's when I felt like the power of representation, what it means. Because I remember the argument when Black Panther came out, like the first Black Panther was like, oh, like from the.
Okay. Wait. This like Patreon special.
Yeah.
That's a Patreon special right there. We're not going to give everybody this too much.
Okay. All right.
This has gone longer than I was supposed to give
Yeah.
everybody. So no, we're going to save that. Good. Keep remind me that's Patreon special right there, because I forgot to do my Wakanda Forever recording, so I need to record that. So if you want to listen to that, join on Patreon. I think I'll give you put that one as a free sample.
Free sample.
You see that one, but thank you for reminding me about that.
Okay.
Yeah. So Bamal will be that's the only one I'll give you. I'll add, and you know what? I'll just fill it off for you. MHD. I'll add MHD.
MHD.
All right. Anyone else? I'll give you one. One from since you don't want anybody from your two countries. One from South Africa. Amapiano. Who from Amapiano? DJ. What's that? DJ G.
Black Coffee.
No, not Black Coffee. I love Black Coffee. Though.
Yeah, I love. So Black Coffee was gonna be my second. For like the deep house scene.
I can't remember the other DJ or Black Coffee. All right, I've gone way over time. But this will be since this is the first official recording of 2023. Everybody will get a long episode. You guys get a bonus episode for the year. So, please plug in. No. Before I get the plug in, wait. You see, I'm warm. I know this is the first time in the studio in 2023, so I'm getting back into the game. But it's all good. One last thing that you would like to leave the audience with before we get into the plugins.
Okay.
Go.
Something before the podcast, talking about or can I just talk about the podcast?
You can. Well, if you want to merge it with the plugins, then we can.
Oh yeah. So basically, what I want to say is, while I was in rehabilitation inpatient, I noticed that not enough of our brothers and sisters from not only Black people, African descent, but minorities are represented. Like, we all drink. We all have feelings, all have emotions. I don't know what my Asian brothers are doing. I don't know what my Indian brothers are doing to, solve that. But like, it's kind of, I don't want to use the word funny, but it's strange that the rooms of, recovery, of rehabilitation are not depicting, are not like, are not reflecting the demographic of the people who drink. Because when you go to a bar, you see people from all walk of life, from all ethnicities. But when you go to the room of recovery, it's very different. And it makes me wonder what those people do. Are they suffering in silence? Do they have their own way of recovering? And what I want to say is, like, don't be afraid. Come to the room. Like, if you're suffering from addiction, go to rehab, come to the room. Like, don't because you are a minority or like an immigrant, don't bury it, because I know there are like so many families who have like secretly people who are dealing with addiction, but because of the stigma of being an immigrant, or like, they're thinking about who's going to say what, how they're going to be perceived by the community. Forget about it. What matters is your health. So I would say, come to the rooms, go to therapy, like go to therapy, just go. Don't forget about what your community will say. Like, your life is more important than what your community will say. Like, one more thing, like, people, I notice in this society, especially in America, all love to be defined by the community they belong to. And sometimes it plays to their detriment, And like I said, like, because I was surprised that not to see, like, sure, you have couple black people, mostly white, but the rooms of rehabilitation and stuff are not representative of the demographic of people who are. So, to the minorities out there suffering, and to people in general, but especially to the minorities out there suffering, please, like, seek help. Don't worry about what your community will say.
All right. And where can they find your podcast, Stairways to Redemption?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I know a lot of people think Stairway, because I inspire myself from it too. I know the song, but Stairway to Redemption is a podcast about recovery and addiction. You can find it online at www.stairwaytoredemption.com. But we are also on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Casts. What's the Amazon one? Like, we are everywhere. And follow us also on social media at Stairway to Redemption on Instagram. We're also on TikTok at Stairway to Redemption. There's one thing that I do. I read the Daily Stoic. I'm really into Stoicism lately, which, for those who don't know, Stoicism is a school of thought, of philosophy about dealing with adversity. Basically, how not to be frustrated with the things that are out of our control, and how to manage and tame the energy of the things that we are. Because no matter what happens, even if you're newly sober, adversity is going to always come toward you. Sometimes you have no control on what's going to happen to you sometimes, but you can always control how you react to it. So Stoicism is a tool of learning that thought process. And I read the Daily Stoic from a book. Follow us on social media, and you can hear my voice every day. I don't know if it's a good thing, but
it is great. It is great. Trust me on that. So, once again, Bana, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And to everyone listening, please go out there and support Benny. And it's a great podcast. I learn a lot. And yes, it's highly recommended. And don't only just listen, give him 5 stars and write an awesome review, and keep supporting this brother, and, encouraging him on the great and awesome work that he's doing. And also support us. Keep the love coming in. Share our podcast. And hey, we need the money. I need to go to Cote d'Ivoire in January 2024 for the African Cup of Nations for more content for you guys. And I need a new laptop too, and a whole bunch of other good stuff. Thank you for the privilege of your company. I'll see you at the next episode. Thanks for listening to White Label American. If you enjoyed the show, we'll appreciate if you rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. If you have any questions, comments, or have someone who will be a good guest on the show, or you want to be on the show, send us a message at whitelabelamerican@gmail.com. And make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at White Label American. Thank you for your support.